Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. This is episode 244. I'm Joseph Christina here with my co-host, Trevor Curran. How's it going, Trev?
Hey, it is going great. How you doing, my friend?
Awesome. We are back. We had a little bit of a hiatus there, but we're back.
We are back, yes. Lots going on as always.
Mm-hmm.
We have received a couple emails and some comments through socials saying, "Where's the show?" And yeah, we know we've been a little sporadic over the last several months, and we're hoping to fix that. We've been brainstorming ideas here, and we're looking at kind of revamping things a little bit, the format, getting some more consistency out there, really growing the YouTube channel, things like that. Kind of a new outlook on the show, which is great. And but basically a lot of the delay for these shows has been my fault, because I've just been busy over here doing stuff. Over the last couple years I've had to refocus my business, and in doing so, it brought in a lot more work, which is great. That was the point of refocusing the business, but has also monopolized a lot more of my time. And it's made it harder for us to get together, coordinate schedules, get together and put a show out. Like when I'm free, Joe wasn't necessarily free, and vice versa. Whereas before, we just slotted it into the calendar that every, let's say, Friday, we were going to do the show. And unfortunately, I just haven't been able to commit to that. Yeah,
absolutely. But you got to look at it this way, guys. We've been doing this for, what is it, like 6-7 years? I don't know, 6.5 years. I don't know. A long time, guys.
Long time.
And like I just said, this is show 244. And that is 244 like video shows. And before that, we were doing podcasts for many moons prior to that. So, this has been going on for a long time. And just like you said, sometimes you just need to have to sit back a little bit and reevaluate what we're doing, how we're doing it, the approach that we're taking. And one of the things that we're going to do is concentrate on giving you a shorter show. So that what happens is we're going to try to get down to 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes. This might go over a little bit because we're telling you about it, but literally like a 10-minute show, a 15-minute show maximum. So it really hones down onto, instead of a host of different things that are going on in the industry, maybe focus on one thing or two things, and that is it for each show. So it kind of concentrates a little bit, the efforts a little bit. And when you see each show, you'll know what to expect before you even see it. So that's basically one of the things that we're concentrating on, with a host of other things also, right?
Right. Exactly. So, that's what we're hoping to do. We're hoping to be able to produce more frequent, shorter shows for you, covering each show will then cover a unique topic. And if we can get more shows out, then we'll be able to cover a wider range of topics while keeping them short. Shorter shows are important on YouTube. People don't have the time to sit and watch a 20, 30, 40-minute video. Because they're on the go, they're moving, they're doing things. They want to watch things from their phone, they want to watch things from their computer, kind of, maybe over lunch or something like that. And duration is a key factor.
Yeah. So anyways, let's jump right into this. And today we're just going to take a look at some Canon things. Two Canon cameras that are being introduced literally within a week or two, by the end of this month. And number one is the Rebel, the new SL2, as well as, that is a crop sensor, as well as the full frame 6D, which is the successor of the 6D, which is the 6D Mark II. So before we get into 6D, let's look at that Rebel. Basically, the Rebel is a standard Rebel, just like you would see in the past. They have added in a DIGIC 7 processor, which of course they need to, because everything has DIGIC 7 as of now, no longer DIGIC 6. It's a 24 megapixel sensor in there. And as a Rebel, as we all know, it is more on a consumer base, not a prosumer, and definitely not a pro, but it's more of a consumer line. So the prices are according to that base that they're trying to hit, right, Trev? And I think you have one, right?
Yeah, I have the old Rebel T2i, and I love that camera. I mean, it's good for what it is, and it's good for what I use it for.
Right.
Yes, the Rebel line is not a prosumer line. It's definitely not a pro line, but a lot of the technologies that they're using in the higher-end cameras are incorporated in the Rebel line. And in fact, Canon, as with a lot of the other companies as well, they kind of introduce some of these technologies in the consumer level products to get a wider base of testers, let's say.
Basically.
They test the validity of the technology before they start rolling it into the higher cameras. So, body only, you're looking at $549. You throw on an 18 to 55 millimeter kit lens, and you're looking at $899. I mean, that's right in line with the rest of the Rebel line.
Right.
And if you're looking for that entry-level camera, that's, again, next iteration.
Yeah, and just like anything else, when you're looking at a camera, and if let's say, for example, you're new to photography, look for a camera that you like what it does and it suits your need today. That's what's most important. You don't really, if let's, for example, you don't need 4K, well, then don't get one with 4K. Get exactly what you need, because the most important thing is the glass anyways. You want to spend all of your money on glass and a smaller portion on the body, because the bodies are disposable. The glass is basically forever, as I always say. So anyways, getting into the 6D Mark II. This is a really, really interesting camera because it really bumped up its game, so to speak, from the original 6D that came out, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago or whatever it is now. It's a long time. They've added a lot of great features into this camera, really good features that the other one just simply didn't have. So if you are a 6D owner, this will be definitely interesting to you for sure, right, John?
Yeah, definitely a nice bump up in what the 6D was. And it still is comparable to the other, prosumer products that Canon offers.
Right.
It's equivalent in the 7D line and such. So, you're getting good build quality, but you're getting a full frame sensor, which is nice. It's a 26.2 megapixel full frame sensor. That's great. I mean, again, full frame, how many megapixels do you really need?
Right.
And we always talk about this. The size of the sensor, I think, is the most important. The quality of those pixels are the most important, not necessarily the number of pixels. With that said, today's technology across all these different brands, the trend is to go higher in the megapixels on larger format sensors.
Yeah.
So if the technology is there to push out 40 high quality megapixels on a full frame sensor, well, then why not do that?
Right.
But 28.2 megapixels is nothing to sneeze at. I mean, that's definitely great resolution.
Yeah.
With the DIGIC 7 processor, I mean, you're getting really great image quality right there.
As far as the camera and megapixel goes, I definitely think, I think it's 26 megapixels. It's about 6 megapixels more than the original. I think that that's great, but I think that the size of the megapixels, like you were just saying, is the most important thing. The quality of those megapixels is the most important thing. And they've bumped it up 6 megapixels, so all the better. Now, really important, DIGIC 7 compared to DIGIC 6. That's great. That means that you have a faster image processor in there. What's really notable too is that the cross type, as far as autofocus points, has moved from 1 cross type in the dead center to 45 cross type points throughout that sensor. So it is a massive difference. And this is one of the things that I've talked about many times in the past, that Canon just never gets it right. Autofocus is always just abysmal, but their let's call it dual pixel AF that they invented years back is literally seen in all of their cameras now. Why? Because it actually works. And having those 45 points of cross type AF points all over that sensor, it allows this camera to be able to pull focus wherever need be and track like eyes or track a specific subject. So that is a massive difference.
Yeah, and that's what you need when you're shooting video, for sure. whether you're behind the camera or whether you're using it for, in studio work, like you're on camera and you want to flip that screen around and look at it. The ability to have that auto tracking is so important.
Right. No, absolutely. And now we've moved from, standard HD capture on the video side to now it's also HD, but it's capturing at 60 frames per second at 1080p, which is great. Everyone has been asking for 60 frames because almost everyone on YouTube these days, all the creators are producing 60 frames. So we really need 60 frames, and they are giving it to us. The one thing on the video side that does not make me happy is that they did not stick 4K into this. Some people say, well, you don't need 4K. The way I look at this, Trev, is I think 4K is fantastic just for the sheer reason that you have more pixels to play with in post-production. So I look at it as comparison to shooting RAW, comparison to shooting JPEG. With that RAW, you could manipulate after the fact. Obviously, you're not getting more dynamic range with the 4K, but what you are getting is just that larger coverage. So later on, if you want to go and, let's say, produce 1080p content, you can literally zoom in 20, 30, 40% and not have any type of pixel problems, any kind of quality issues, and you can zoom in and out. So 4K, I think, is very, very important, and I think that's where this camera missed its mark. They could have really knocked it out of the park, but as Canon always does, they get right to that line, and then they just stumble. Okay, it kind of is what it is. And then moving on to native ISO, they bumped up to 40,000 in comparison to 25,000. That's really great because you don't want extended ISO. If not, this stuff turns into crap. We all know, it gets pixelated. It looks like garbage. So that's really great too, right?
Yeah, that's good. And then of course now with a lot of the new Canon cameras and all the other manufacturers as well, they're all including, GPS, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, NFC. With the Canon line, you would have to buy external radios basically for them in the past. And, that really is inconvenient and an added expense. So, now that it's all built in, it's so much more convenient. Now you can kind of take advantage of some of these newer technologies that other companies have been doing for years now. Right. Yeah, just like what Apple would do. It's like, hey guys, we got USB 3.0. It's like the next best thing to sliced bread. And people are like, what are you talking about? It's been around for 4 years. But that's okay. We just put it in. It's awesome. Same kind of thing. So they also moved up to their FPS, their shooting speed, or the amount of capture up to 6.5 frames per second is what it can capture compared to 4.5 frames per second, which is on par. That's where really it needs to be. I would like to see a little bit more, but literally this camera is $19.99. That's what it's coming out at. I think it's coming out at, I think it's like the 27th, at the end of this month, basically, guys. And at $19.99, let's call it $2,000. It is really, really a step up from that 6D. So if you have a 6D, this 6D Mark II is head and shoulders above it and is definitely worth the investment to move to it. Now, I've always said don't buy bodies, unless you need them or whatnot. I think this is such a massive difference, with its dual pixel AF compared to its contrast and phase detection autofocus. 45 points of cross type compared to one dead center. There's so many things in here that are just really wonderful for the price, and it's literally the exact same price that you paid for the 6D when you originally bought it when it first came out. So is it worth the buy? I would say absolutely. And then they've also come out with a couple of kits, right, with some lenses. Sure, yeah, you could get it with the 24 to 105. It's an f3.5 to 5.6. That's $25.99 with the kit. Or you could get it the 24 to 105 f4, and that's an L lens, I believe, right? And that's $3,099. Yeah. So, when you start throwing a glass on it, it definitely bumps up the price. But if you've already got the glass, I think $2,000 for the body is probably fair. Yeah, it's probably in line with everybody else.
Absolutely. So, all right, Trev, I think that's it for this show 244. What do you think?
I think so. So if our listeners and viewers want to connect with you outside of the show, what's the best way for them to reach you?
So, all right, guys, find me over on Twitter, and that's at Joseph Christina. And then also find my channel on YouTube, and that is youtube.com/JChristinaPhoto.
Great. And you can connect with me on Twitter. It's at Trevor Current, and head over to my website, currentphotographer.com.
All right, everyone, we're out of here for yet another week. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to give us a thumbs up or a like on the channel. Don't forget also to subscribe and head over to iTunes and see all of our past shows. That's it. We're out of here. We'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys.